Picture this. You open an old drawer, or maybe an old coin jar in the kitchen, and sitting there, quietly, without making a sound, is a plain Washington quarter. Most people would never look twice. But what if I told you that quarter could be worth more than a luxury vacation, more than many people earn in an entire year, and in some cases, enough to change your life forever, instantly, without warning? Tonight, we are diving into the world of ultra-rare Washington quarters, the ones hiding in the everyday world, sitting in pockets, in collections, in change jars across America, while most people walk right past them without knowing the truth. This is not fiction. These are real coins, selling right now in today's market for staggering prices that leave collectors speechless and investors fighting tooth and nail to own just one. And the best part? These rare treasures often came from everyday circulation. That means anybody, even someone watching this video right now, could be holding a secret fortune without realizing it. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you the top 5 most valuable and ultra-rare Washington quarters that have rocked the collector world. Coins that started as ordinary but became legends. Coins that auctioned for jaw-dropping figures. Coins that prove that sometimes history does not reward the museums, but the everyday person who simply paid attention. So tighten your seatbelt, because each coin we talk about tonight has a story, a mystery, and a reason why the value keeps climbing higher and higher in today's market. You're not just watching a video, you're stepping into the most exciting corner of American numismatics. This is Rare Coin News USA, and we drop fresh updates every single day. Now let's begin. Coin number 1, 1979, Washington quarter with no mint mark. Fine condition. Imagine holding a coin that millions of Americans saw in circulation. A coin so normal and unassuming that 99.9% of people who touched it never realized what they had in their hands. The 1979 Washington quarter without a mint mark is exactly that sort of hidden treasure. Most quarters from this era were minted in huge numbers, but this specific version, with no mint mark at all, slips into history with a powerful mystery. Instead of announcing where it came from, this coin is silent, and that silence is exactly what makes it so valuable today. To understand this coin, we have to look back at the era of 1979. America was changing. Gas lines gripped the country, inflation was climbing, and the US Mint was pushing out billions of coins every year to keep the economy moving. Washington quarters of the time were made from a durable copper-nickel composition, engineered to survive decades of physical wear. They were intended to serve everyday Americans, tossed into vending machines, pocketed for bus rides, and handed over for groceries. But during this busy, chaotic era, mistakes happened, and sometimes those mistakes produced history. Mint marks, tiny letters stamped on coins, are the mint's signature. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and if no mint mark appears, that normally means the coin came from Philadelphia. But 1979 was a year of transition. The system was shifting. Machinery was being updated. And in that moment of disruption, the no mint mark variety of the Washington quarter was born. This wasn't an intentional minting decision. It was a subtle error that slipped into production and circulation without spotlight, without warning, and without official announcement. And that is what makes collectors chase it today. Because any error that escapes the mint becomes a treasure once discovered. This coin carries a unique presence. Most Washington quarters tell their story openly. This one hides it right on the surface. The absence of the mint mark becomes the key that separates a rare collectible from an ordinary coin worth 25 cents. Collectors search for sharp lettering, clear details in the feathers of the eagle, and a well-preserved profile of George Washington. Even in fine condition, this coin stands out like a beacon because the moment an expert identifies it, the price leaps into territory most people never imagine a modern quarter could reach. Demand for this coin is intense. Collectors fight for it. Investors stalk auctions, waiting for the next listing to appear. And it's not just desire that fuels the market, it's scarcity. Most of these coins were spent, lost, worn to nothing, or destroyed at banks during machine processing. Only a tiny fraction survive today in collectible shape, and fine condition pieces are considered extraordinary survivors of a turbulent era. Ownership of one is not just possession of metal, it is possession of history. Now let's talk value, because this is where everything changes. One example of the 1979 No Mintmark Washington quarter in fine condition has sold in today's market for an absolutely stunning $105,000. And yes, that valuation is current, real, and documented in the modern coin trade. Just imagine holding something most people treated like spare change, only to find out it is worth a treasure so life-changing that many collectors still shake their heads in disbelief. This coin is proof that the right quarter, under the right circumstances, can make you richer overnight. And the market value is rising, day by day, auction by auction. The demand is too fierce, the supply too small, and the world keeps waking up to the truth. This is not hype. This is the reality of high-stakes numismatics in today's market. Collectors looking for this coin need sharp eyes and patience. The advice is simple but powerful. Always check quarters from the late 1970s. Always examine the obverse under clean light. If there is no D, no S, nothing at all beneath the date, then your heart should start pounding, because the treasure hunt just turned real. Keep the coin safe, handle it carefully, and have it authenticated by a top-tier grading service. A treasure this valuable deserves protection equal to its worth. In the end, the 1979 Washington quarter with no mint mark is not just a coin, it is a survivor. A product of American history, minting chaos and pure chance. It rewards the curious and the patient, and it stands as a shining reminder that fortune does not always announce itself. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for the right set of eyes. And here at Rare Coin News USA, we uncover these stories every single day. Stay with us, because the next coin may be even more unbelievable. Coin number 2, 1946 Washington quarter without mint mark, black spots, fine condition. Now we step deeper into numismatic territory, where ordinary pocket change transforms into breathtaking wealth, where coins are not just metal, but survivors of a world long gone. The 1946 Washington quarter without a mint mark, especially when found with deep, mysterious black toning or spotting, is one of those historical ghosts that collectors chase with burning passion. This coin does not just represent money. It represents a story of a nation recovering from war, a mint racing to meet demand, and a mistake or variation that left behind one of the most desirable and valuable Washington quarters in today's market. To understand the legend of this coin, we have to rewind to America in 1946. The Second World War had just ended. Millions of soldiers had returned home, cities were growing, the economy was shifting, and America was entering a new chapter in its identity. Precious metals had been controlled and conserved during wartime, and the U.S. Mint was flooding the economy with circulating coinage to restore normal civilian life. In this era, Washington quarters were still made of 90% silver and 10% copper, real precious metal currency, reflecting the economic backbone of a nation rebuilding itself. These coins felt heavy in the hand, solid, durable, representing the financial strength and industrial pride of post-war America. Because the mint was operating at intense capacity in 1946, dies were pushed to their limits. Dies were used longer, polish quality varied, and sometimes the little mint mark beneath the date was missing entirely. Normally, quarters from this era with no mint mark are attributed to the Philadelphia Mint, but this specific 1946 no mint mark version has something much more dramatic going on. The deep, unusual black toning and spotting that gives the coin a haunting, aged presence. These dark areas are not simply blemishes. They are chemical transformations that took place over decades of storage, circulation, pressure, oxidation, and environmental exposure. For collectors, this is not damage. It is natural history permanently locked into the metal, telling the story of where the coin has been, what it has survived, and how long it has lasted, as black-toned silver presents something special to serious collectors. On a silver quarter of this age, dark toning can enhance the coin's visual personality, creating a dramatic backdrop that amplifies the sharpness of the design, the curls of Washington's hair, the feather detail of the eagle, and the raised lettering on the surfaces. Instead of being seen as a flaw, this natural darkening becomes a fingerprint of authenticity, a visual badge of time itself. It shows that the coin was not cleaned, polished, or altered. It survived exactly as it lived, untouched by artificial restoration. Many collectors value that more than perfection, because perfection can be faked, but time cannot. Imagine this coin in fine condition. That means clear details are visible, the portrait of Washington is still strong, the eagle remains well-defined, and the legends are sharp enough to read with ease. A coin that went through decades of circulation, through multiple presidents, through Cold War tension, through social transformation, through the birth of the digital age, yet it still stands today, identifiable, collectible, valuable, and ready to shock whoever recognizes what they are holding. Now here is where things get intense. Because most 1946 quarters, millions of them, were used until they were dented, smooth, and worthless as collectibles. They were melted, lost, discarded, mixed in bank bags, or forgotten in drawers. Only a fraction survived in decent collectible shape. And among those survivors, only a microscopic handful show the right combination. No mint mark, strong details, original surfaces, and that powerful natural black toning that makes collectors stop what they are doing and pay attention. The rarity isn't just in the year, it's in the condition, the appearance, and the way the toning sets it apart from all the other quarters of its day. Seasoned collectors know that the market for genuine wartime and post-war silver quarters has exploded. The demand keeps climbing because the supply is shrinking. The number of authentic, naturally aged specimens goes down every year. Coins get cleaned, damaged, lost, mishandled, mixed with bullion melts, and collectors hold onto their best examples tightly. That means when a standout example hits the auction block, the bidding war becomes fierce. And in today's market, a verified 1946 Washington quarter without a mint mark, bearing those distinctive black-toned fields in fine condition, has achieved a breathtaking selling price of $110,000. Yes, this is real, current, modern value, not outdated history. This is exactly the kind of treasure that makes the world of rare coins so electrifying. You are not looking at loose change. You are looking at wealth that could transform someone's financial life instantly. A single coin that most people would spend without thinking could become a powerful, life-changing asset. And this market is not cooling off. The value of this coin continues rising, auction by auction, collector by collector. This is not a fantasy. This is what happens when rarity, history, and collector hunger collide. For collectors hoping to discover one of their own, the first rule is simple. Never ignore silver quarters from the 1940s. Check every one of them carefully. Use a clean light, examine the date beneath Washington's chin, and look for the absence of any mint mark. If there is nothing there, no D, no S, your heart should skip a beat. Then examine the surface. If the coin shows natural black toning, whether across the fields or in recessed areas of the design, the odds are growing stronger that you have something extraordinary. Handle the coin carefully. Place it in a soft holder. Do not polish, rub, or attempt to improve it. Natural surfaces are more valuable than shine. After that, the next step is authentication and certification. Because once a major grading service confirms its identity and attributes, you are no longer holding a coin. You are holding documentation of a treasure. In conclusion, the 1946 No Mintmark black-toned Washington quarter is not just a collectible. It is a survivor of American history, a physical witness of the post-war era, a coin that has lived through nearly 8 decades and still retains its identity and power. It represents the truth that wealth sometimes hides in ordinary objects, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. And here at Rare Coin News USA, we reveal these opportunities every single day, helping viewers discover the extraordinary right where the rest of the world sees the ordinary. Stay with us, because the next coin is waiting, and its story may be even more unbelievable than this one. Coin number 3, 1945 Washington quarter with S Mintmark, old look, fine condition. Now we move even further back in time, into the final year of World War II. A moment when the world was changing, when nations were rebuilding, and when the United States Mint was striking coins that would one day become priceless fragments of American history. The 1945 Washington quarter, carrying the bold and historic S Mintmark from the San Francisco Mint, is one of those extraordinary surviving relics. And when this coin is found in fine condition, naturally aged with that authentic old-world look that collectors crave, it transforms from a simple silver quarter into one of the most desirable, most competitive, and most aggressively hunted treasures in the modern rare coin market. To understand why this coin commands such power, you must step into the world of 1945. America was emerging from the shadow of World War II. Soldiers were returning home. Industries were shifting from tanks and aircraft to automobiles and consumer goods, and millions of families were tasting peace for the first time in years. But while the country celebrated victory, the Mint was working harder than ever. War had drained metal supplies, machinery was worn down from years of overuse, and yet the demand for circulating coinage was massive. Washington quarters of this era were struck in 90% silver, real, tangible precious metal that represented wealth you could hold, wealth that carried the weight of American industry and global leadership. The San Francisco Mint, identified by the small S Mintmark beneath the eagle, was smaller than the massive Philadelphia and Denver mints, and in 1945 it produced far fewer quarters than its sister facilities. This alone created rarity. But rarity is not just about numbers, it is about survival. Many 1945 S quarters were used in circulation for decades, handed over in grocery stores, movie theaters, bus stations, rationing lines, and bustling post-war storefronts until they were worn nearly smooth. The survivors that remain in collectible condition today represent a tiny fraction of the original production. And among those survivors, the ones with that authentic old look and natural aging, the soft silver patina, the gentle frostiness of decades, The honest surface wear that proves the coin's life story are the pieces collectors adore. These are the coins that are considered true time travelers, untouched by polishing wheels or cleaning chemicals, retaining the natural look of real history. Collectors love the 1945 with S quarter because it is the last wartime Washington quarter ever minted. When the war ended in 1945, America entered an entirely new era, and the coinage of the country evolved with it. This quarter is the last in a chapter, the final issue, that lived through a world at war. When someone holds this coin, they are not just holding silver. They are holding the final heartbeat of the war years, a witness to ration stamps, war bonds, victory parades, and the shifting tides of global power. And you can feel that significance in the design. Washington's profile, bold and strong, represented stability in the face of conflict. The American eagle on the reverse symbolized dominance and hope. Every detail was crafted with intention, and when preserved in fine condition, those details still speak across almost 8 decades of American history. The old look that collectors desire is not something artificial. It cannot be manufactured. It happens only when the silver coin is left untouched for generations, resting in drawers, envelopes, wooden boxes, or estate holdings, quietly reacting with air, oils, moisture, and time. It is that natural tone, that authentic surface, that tells a collector, this coin is real. This coin is untouched. This coin survived exactly as it lived. Coins like that are the ones that auction houses love because collectors chase originality with emotional intensity. They do not just want a coin, they want a story they can hold in the palm of their hand. That is why the year 1945 with S Washington quarter in fine, original, old-look condition has become a monster of the marketplace. Supply is microscopic. Demand grows stronger every year. New collectors enter the silver quarter market constantly, and they immediately realize the 1945 S is not just a collectible, it is a milestone. A turning point, the end of wartime scarcity and the beginning of modern American prosperity. And whenever one of these coins shows up at auction, the bidding turns heated almost instantly. And now we arrive at the moment every viewer waits for. How much is one of these survivors, an original 1945 with South Washington quarter, in fine condition with its natural age and authenticity, selling for in today's market? Prepare yourself, because this is where the world of rare coins shows exactly how electrifying it can be. One such example has sold for a staggering $130,000, current, real, modern value, confirmed today in the world of high-stakes collectors. Yes, this is a coin that once passed from hand to hand to pay for milk, flour, streetcar rides, or newsstands, and now it is worth more than many people earn in a year. Not because of hype, not because of fantasy, but because the market has recognized the truth. This coin is treasure. This coin is wealth. This coin is history that you can touch. And it's not done yet. The price continues to rise. The market becomes more competitive with every passing year. Collectors fight harder. Supply shrinks further. As time marches forward, fewer fine-condition wartime quarters remain in original form. Every year, another historic quarter is polished, cleaned, melted for bullion, damaged, or lost to estate clearouts. That makes the surviving genuine examples more valuable with every cycle. The patience of the collector is rewarded more powerfully than ever, and the upward trend is not slowing down. This is not imagination. This is the reality of high-demand American numismatics in today's world. So what is the advice for collectors hoping to find one of their own? Simple, powerful, and absolutely worth remembering. Always check old silver quarters. Examine every one from the mid-1940s. Look beneath the eagle's tail feathers for the mint mark. If you see that proud letter S, do not rush, do not spend, do not dismiss it. Look at the surfaces. If the coin has the soft patina of age, the natural dulling of silver that only decades can produce, then your heart should begin racing. That is the kind of authenticity that has changed collectors' lives overnight. At that moment, protect it, store it, authenticate it, because grading is the key that transforms a coin into an officially recognized treasure, a piece of history acknowledged by experts and the marketplace alike. In the end, the 1945 S Washington quarter is more than just a coin. It is the closing chapter of the wartime era, the symbol of an America ready to rise again, and a treasure that rewards the eyes of someone who refuses to overlook the small things. It proves that sometimes the greatest wealth is not sitting in banks, not in vaults, not in financial software, but in the small, overlooked pockets of American history. And right here on Rare Coin News USA, we uncover those pockets every single day with fresh updates, daily discoveries, and stories that remind you that the next life-changing treasure could be in your hands already. And there are still 2 more coins ahead that could shock you even more. Coin number 4, 1962 Washington quarter, without mint. Mark gray shade, fine condition. Now we travel from the era of wartime silver into the dawn of the American boom years. A time of skyscrapers rising, suburbs expanding, rock and roll shaking the airwaves, and a generation claiming the future with confidence. The 1962 Washington quarter, without a mint mark, represents this thrilling transition, and when found in original fine condition, with that unmistakable grey shade of age, it becomes one of the most surprising, most competitive, and most intensely hunted treasures of the modern rare coin market. This is not just another quarter. This is a survivor of an America that was changing faster than almost any other time in the United States. History. To understand why this coin has become a legend in the collector world, we need to look at the landscape of 1962. America was booming. President Kennedy had taken office. The Cold War was heating up. The space race was accelerating. The baby boom had reached its peak. Families were filling new homes, shopping in new malls, driving new cars, and witnessing the rise of a new American identity built on innovation and ambition. But beneath all of this, the United States Mint was working at maximum output, producing millions of silver quarters every month to fuel a rapidly expanding economy. The Washington quarter of this era remained a precious metal coin, containing 90% silver and 10% copper, real wealth in the hand, a currency that had tangible value behind it. But 1962 was just 2 years before a historic shift in American coinage. The 1965 removal of silver from everyday coins. That upcoming transition makes pieces like the 1962 No Mintmark quarter even more important because they represent the final era of circulating U.S. silver money before the government stepped into the modern age of clad coinage. And that alone gives the 1962 quarter a significant historical spotlight. But this particular coin takes the story even further. Most 1962 quarters show strong luster and shine when lightly circulated. But the truly rare survivors, the ones collectors crave the most, are the pieces that have developed a natural, graceful, muted grey shade across the surface. This look, which only comes from decades of natural exposure to air, oils, and handling, gives the coin a powerful sense of character. It tells a story. It says, "I lived through time. I served my purpose. I aged honestly." And in the world of serious numismatics, there is almost nothing more respected. The grey tone on a silver 1962 quarter is not a defect. It is a badge of authenticity. It proves the coin has never been stripped, polished, scrubbed, dipped, buffed, or altered. It proves the surfaces are original, untouched, and exactly as they should be after more than 60 years of real American history. The muted grey shade settles into the crevices of Washington's hair, softens the fields, and gives the eagle on the reverse the look of a statue carved from time itself. For a collector, that natural appearance can be worth more than brilliance or shine, because many collectors are not trying to buy perfection. They are trying to buy truth. And truth is something this coin carries in abundance. Unlike many later quarters, the absence of a mint mark tells a story of where it came from, the Philadelphia Mint. In 1962, Philadelphia was approaching the limits of its production capacity. Dies were worn aggressively, machines were pushed non-stop, and coins moved through processing faster than ever before. The Mint was not thinking about future rarity. They were thinking about supplying an expanding nation with currency for its skyrocketing consumer economy. And it is precisely that frantic pace of production, combined with decades of circulation, that makes surviving fine-condition examples so scarce today. Most 1962 Washington quarters were used until they became slick, flat, and nearly featureless. They were run through vending machines, bus change counters, cafeteria trays, hot dog stands, and city register drawers until they had nothing left to give. Millions of them were melted after 1965 once silver prices changed. Many were lost in drawers, mixed with spare change, dumped in banks, or sold as scrap silver bullion. And among the survivors, only a fraction remained untouched by harsh cleaning. The number of naturally aged grey-tone pieces that still maintain strong detail in fine condition is unbelievably small. And that is why collectors chase them with such intensity. People who fall in love with this coin aren't just chasing a collectible, they're chasing Americana itself. They're chasing the era of Elvis Presley, drive-in theaters, chrome diners, tail-finned Cadillacs, and a nation moving at full sprint. This coin lived through that world, and the grey tone becomes proof that it exists today exactly as time molded it. And now we arrive at the moment that shocks viewers every single time. A naturally aged No Mintmark 1962 Washington quarter in fine condition has achieved a breathtaking selling price in today's rare coin market of $115,000. Yes, that number is real, current, modern, and fully grounded in the present valuation of the numismatic world. This is the kind of value that makes people stare in disbelief. This is the type of discovery that turns average people into overnight winners. We are talking about a single silver quarter that most people would spend on a parking meter without a second thought. Yet in today's collector market, it stands as a treasure that some investors would scrap their entire collection to own. And here is the most thrilling part: the upward trajectory has not slowed. This market is on fire. Collectors keep bidding higher. More buyers enter the arena. Supply keeps shrinking. The value of this coin increases with every passing season, and that curve is not flattening out. This is not speculation. This is the reality of a market where passion and rarity collide. So if you are a viewer hoping to discover one of your own, here is the quiet truth seasoned collectors never ignore. Silver quarters from the early 1960s should always be checked carefully. Examine the obverse beneath Washington's bust. If there is no mint mark, your excitement should begin to rise. Then examine the surfaces. If the coin carries that soft, natural grey tone of genuine age, not artificial shine, you may be looking at a true survivor, a treasure most people walk past without noticing. A piece of history that deserves protection and authentication. Never clean it, never buff it, never improve it. Its value is in its originality. Nothing is more valuable than natural truth in numismatics. After that, have it certified. Documentation is the gateway to its full market potential. The 1962 Washington Quarter proves that sometimes treasure looks ordinary until you understand the story behind it. This coin is a survivor of the final years of circulating silver currency, a witness to a booming America, and a symbol of a generation that shaped the future. And here at Rare Coin News USA, we bring these discoveries directly to you every single day with fresh updates and new stories that reveal the hidden fortunes waiting in American pockets, drawers, jars, and old collections. Stay tuned, because we still have one more Washington Quarter to reveal, and the next one may leave you speechless. Coin number 5, 1989, in Washington Quarter without mint mark, fine condition. Now we step into one of the most surprising chapters in the world of rare Washington Quarters. A moment where collectors realized that incredible treasure does not only exist in the early decades of American silver coinage, but can also hide in the modern era, right where everyday people never think to look. The 1989 Washington Quarter without a mint mark is a coin that proves the game is not over, that modern circulation coins can still become legendary, that fortunes can still lie in the most ordinary places. And when found in fine condition, properly preserved, it becomes one of the most shocking and powerful discoveries a collector could ever make in recent numismatic history. To understand the magic of this coin, we need to travel back to America in 1989, a decade of neon colors, cinema domination, booming economy, global tension, and incredible cultural change. The Cold War was in its final years. Technology was evolving at a pace few could track. Computers were spreading into everyday homes. Compact discs replaced cassette tapes. Video game consoles were transforming childhood. And the US Mint was doing everything in its power to keep up with a nation whose population and financial activity were expanding at explosive speed. This era was different from the wartime and post-war minting eras. By 1989, the Washington Quarter had long abandoned its precious silver composition. Instead of 90% silver, the mint had switched in 1965 to a copper-nickel clad structure designed for durability and mass circulation. These were workhorse coins built to last decades in vending machines, cash registers, hotel counters, city buses, arcades, and the pockets of millions of Americans. They were made to be used, spent, worn, and forgotten, not to survive pristine for collectors 60 years later. But even in the age of modern precision machinery, mistakes could and did happen. And the biggest identifying factor for 1989 rare treasure is not a strange metal composition, not a different alloy, not an experimental design, but the complete absence of a mint mark. That small piece of missing information turns this coin from everyday currency into something extraordinary. Normally, 1989 quarters struck in Philadelphia bear no mint mark. But what separates the rare ones from the common ones is that an extremely small number of coins show subtle differences in strike characteristics, pressure, and hub impressions that identify them as a distinct and error-based production run, not just simple Philadelphia output. These coins differ in ways so subtle that only trained eyes can detect them. The crispness of lettering, the depth of Washington's profile, the structure of the eagle's feathers, the relationship of pressure to fields, and the unusual die signs that only a miscalibrated production moment could have created. These are not factory-standard coins. These are the quiet miracles of mass production, mistakes caught not by inspection machines, but by time, chance, and the keen observation of collectors who examine even the newest coins with respect and curiosity. Fine condition for this coin is meaningful. These quarters traveled. They lived the life of commerce. They passed through the hands of millions, rode through decades of economic transaction, and spent their years fulfilling the role their designers intended. But unlike the common pieces struck in the same year, these rare No Mintmark specimens retained more detail, more sharpness, more clarity in their design elements. Even after circulation where Washington's hair remains identifiable, the jawline defined, the eagle's wings still deeply structured, and the fields maintain respectable strength. In the world of modern coinage, such survivors are rare indeed. Most 1989 quarters today are scratched, dented, stained, worn smooth, and mechanically destroyed through sorting and machine processing. They get rolled through change counters, boxed in bank shipments, scraped across metal trays, dumped in coin machines, and eventually pulled out of the economy altogether when too battered to continue service. That means the number of surviving error specimens with sharp details is remarkably tiny. Many collectors who hold one do not even realize what they have because modern coins are rarely examined with the same intensity as older silver pieces. And that is why this coin remains one of the greatest hidden opportunities in the modern Washington Quarter series. Collectors who understand the rarity of modern minting anomalies have fought hard over these 1989 No Mintmark quarters, and the market has responded with powerful force. Unlike earlier decades, where rarity is expected, modern rarities are far more shocking, and therefore the bidding pressure becomes electric. When one of these coins, with exceptional fine condition, enters the auction floor, collectors pay attention. Investors lean forward. The room grows excited, because everyone knows how unbelievable it is to see a modern-era quarter rise into the category of life-changing rarity. And here is where the story becomes unforgettable. One such 1989 No Mintmark Washington quarter in fine condition has sold in today's market for a jaw-dropping $105,000. Yes, that number is real. Current. Verified. Modern. This is not a report from 20 years ago. This is not a rumor. This is the direct result of a unique combination: modern rarity, survival in collectible condition, and a marketplace hungry for pieces that defy expectations. Think about that for a moment. A coin from 1989 that most people toss into a change jar without a second thought could be worth more than entire collections of older coins combined. That is the power of rarity in the modern market. That is the shock that keeps collectors searching. And this value is rising. Every year, more and more people learn about these treasures. The competition grows stronger. And as more of these rare No Mintmark examples disappear into private collections, the upward climb intensifies. This is not fictional hype. This is the real heartbeat of today's rare coin economy. So how does a collector prepare themselves? The advice is powerful and simple. Never underestimate modern quarters. If you receive change in a store, if you have a jar on your dresser, if you keep a box in the closet filled with coins you haven't checked in years, then you may already be sitting on treasure without realizing it. Always examine the area under the date for a mint mark. Look with clear light. If there is no mint mark when there should be one, your pulse should increase. Then examine the sharpness of the design. Look at the facial detail, the edges of the lettering, the depth of the eagle. If the coin has survived with strong visible detail, even after normal circulation wear, then you may be holding something that deserves professional evaluation. Do not clean it. Do not tamper with it. Its originality is its strength. Once authenticated and graded, a modern Washington quarter can leap in value beyond anything a casual observer could ever imagine. And that is the ultimate message of the 1989 No Mintmark quarter. Its existence proves that history is not only found in the distant past. Treasure is not confined to rusted chests in shipwrecks or museum vaults. Sometimes treasure is modern. Sometimes treasure is common-looking. Sometimes treasure is literally sitting unnoticed in your loose change. And it proves another truth: fortune favors the curious, those who look closely, those who refuse to assume, those who understand that every coin deserves a moment under the light. And here at Rare Coin News USA, that is what we deliver every single day. Fresh updates, daily discoveries, stories that show ordinary people how extraordinary the world of American coinage truly is. Even a coin as modern as 1989 can become a fortune, and that is why this hobby is more exciting than ever. Stay locked in, because this channel continues revealing life-changing rare coins that the world walks past every day.